The bracket isn't going anywhere. It's okay. It's okay. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the best Zerg player in all of South Korea, representing KranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. The ZvZ is upon us. Again, Lambo is one of the few Europeans that has signed up for this tournament. I mentioned it earlier, but a lot of the more regular European players aren't here this week. I'm speaking about MaxPax, Serral, and Rainer. They're usually here for the KungFu Cup, but they are suspiciously absent from this week's edition. It's possible that Serral and Rainer are maybe just taking some time off after ESL Masters Summer, after the weekend. It was a pretty intense weekend for the both of them, so I don't blame them. MaxPax has less of an excuse. MaxPax was playing in ESL Open Cup Americas yesterday. We were casting him yesterday, but I guess something came up and he isn't available today. As unless I'm blind, and I could be blind, I haven't seen him on the bracket, and I'm just gonna quickly double check. And yeah, MaxPax is not in the bracket here this week, so that does kind of give the opportunity for maybe other players to excel. And yeah, it also means that we have a little bit less kind of country diversity or representation here in this bracket. We got a lot of Koreans, a lot more Koreans, especially in the upper half of the tournament. In the lower half, you know, at least we have players like Clem, Showtime, Spirit. Oh, good stuff. But now though, we do have some pretty interesting openers actually. So Dark does go for a hatch gas pool as to be expected. Lambo though went for a pool first opener. With this pool first, he does get a faster queen. As we can see here, the queen is already on the low ground. This is a very safe opener from Lambo. He's already got 100 gas and he's actually not working towards link speed here. He could be going for a 2-base opener instead. Very curious. Yeah, just non-stop queen production here from Lambo. We are banking up that gas. Links hit a scout. Ooh, a solid pickoff here from Dark. He does get the tumor. Oh. But I imagine from here, Lambo, once he does make sure that the links are forced back, yep, he's going to be going into 2-base lair. Lair is on the way. I imagine we're going to be seeing a Roach Warren alongside this as well, so we can get into Roach speed. Or this could be a Link Queen Nidus all in, which is definitely possible. We'll keep an eye on the tech here of Lambo and what he wants to go for. I feel like 2-base Muta on Neo Humanity is suicide. I don't... I don't see 2-base... I mean, Lambo, he is a very smart player. He's, you know, he has the biggest brain in all of EU, so maybe that's the plan. So there we go. We are going to be walling off here on 2 bases. Dark, fully aware that there is no third. Has been checking, has been scouting. And gases are being taken. So it's not going to be a Nidus. It may just be straight up 2-base Roach play. Especially now that the lair is finished up. It's just really weird. This feels a little bit inefficient. And the only reason why I say that is that this Roach Warren is late. Because of that, the timing of this lair isn't quite lined up with it, which means, you know, Roach speed is going to be a little bit later than I'm sure he would have liked. But again, I'm pretty sure a lot of this is just so he could have like kept this hidden for as long as possible. Just like mind games more than anything. As Roach speed is now on the way alongside +1 range, Lambo taking the forward base as well. You love to see it. As Dark has just been happily working on his 3 bases. So Dark, he knows that he has the economic advantage. He knows that against his opponents, he will have the greater economy. He just has to make sure he doesn't get caught with his pants down. As I believe Dark has seen the 3rd base. Oh, I love this. Dark even knocks down the center rocks as well, just to make sure he's even safer here against a big timing with +1. Speaking of, Lambo is forced to go the long way around, but we do have a creep being spread. Lambo does drone though. He is being forced back. Dark able to happily make use of this space, and now he's looking to be the aggressor. Working through those center rocks. Dark has cut workers, bear that in mind. He's only on 4 gases. He hasn't taken the gas in his main base. He isn't saturating his third base either. He's just making nothing but roaches. Now the upgrades will be even. Lambo has droned up a little bit heavier compared to Dark, so he's going to have less roaches to work with. We're going to be even on upgrades. Lambo will have the high ground though. He will have the defender's advantage. Oh, but Dark doesn't care. He doesn't care about your high ground. He dives on top of this army. He knows that Lambo has nothing. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1 in a very swift fashion. That was... I loved that. GG. So Dark, he feigns that he feigns that he's going to be like macroing basically, especially with knocking down those rocks. He pretends like he's gonna be macroing when really he just cuts workers at 50 and he just makes nothing but roaches. And he ends up baiting Lambo into being a little bit too greedy, into droning up too hard. And a lot that kind of plays into that as well is the fact that a gas was taken at the third base and not in the main, just to hide how many gases have been taken as well. So a very decisive play out of Dark. Lambo unfortunately was caught with his pants down, was caught being a little bit too greedy by his opponent. Oh, GG. GG, well played. And now we get into game number 2. Let's go. Let's go. There was a lot of like denial of information and misinformation at play in that game. Like that's what I love it when games are like that. It's always really intriguing to me. Like how the mental back and forth goes. And now we're getting into game 2. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the best Zerg player in all of South Korea, representing KranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion, down in the series but not out. It is Lambo. Oh boy. Alright. This time I'm going to be paying a little bit closer attention to the openers and less so about, going on a bit of a rant about Future. We already know Future is coming. But yeah, last game we had some pretty interesting openers, especially from Lambo. This time, hatch first from both players. You love to see it. As a reminder, last game Lambo did go for a pool gas hatch opener instead, which meant that he had he had queens early on to work with and a lot of gas, a surplus of gas to work with as well. I think last game, based on the opener, especially because it's Neo-Humanity, I think he was expecting Dark to be aggressive with Lings early on. I think he was just expecting like a 12 pool or something. So he was attempting to hard counter that, and alas, out of the gates when it comes to the openers, he was like a step behind economically already. Had to work with what he had, and yeah, ended up going for 2-base lair. Oh boy. But here on a map like Royal Blood, it's a little more standard, it's a little more safe. Lambo, or both players even, just going for standard openers. Hatch gas pool. Nothing too crazy. I'm still calming down after game 1, not gonna lie. I'm still collecting myself, and yeah, from here I wouldn't be surprised if we get even a standard mid game as well. And what I mean by that is both players just gonna be getting their third bases on time as well, off of like 28 to 30 supply. We should be getting our Baneling Nest thrown down. I'd be shocked if either one of these players goes 2-base again, especially Lambo. But we'll see. we'll see what we go for. As there we go, third base is en route here for Dark of that 28 worker count, and Lambo likewise should be working on his own. And there we go, just a little bit later. I think Lambo did that's a couple of links here to stop him. Yeah, Lambo's third is going to be delayed here. I think it was intentionally a little bit delayed just to make sure that Dark was getting his. I think he was getting his own reactively. But there we go, it's finally thrown down just a little bit later than Dark's. As a result, he will have a bit of a faster bailiness, and I'm curious if Lambo is going to try to make use of that. We'll see if he does make like a surge of lings and go across the map. But for the time being, no, he's just going to be chilling. Just going to be droning. Oh, and yeah, as a result, we have pretty standard stuff. Like standard timings on third base, standard bailiness timing as well. And, ooh, Dark throws down a very fast Roach Warren behind his natural base. We were talking about it in his series against Future, but Dark, he's all about the Roach whenever he can. And this is going to be a very strong timing from him. He's going to be making Roaches as soon as possible and sending them across the map as soon as possible as well. Before that does occur, I'm pretty sure he's going to be active with his Ling Bane to try and keep Lambo's attention across the map instead of, you know, on Dark. His attention back at home instead of on Dark. Ooh. Meanwhile, we do see Lambo going for his own Roach Warren as a part of the wall here at a much more standard timing, to be fair. Oh, as a Ling does make it into the natural base, Lambo not quite able to get eyes on the Roach Warren though. The Roaches are already in production as we speak. Dark looking to be active with his Lings and Banelings, as I was mentioning earlier. He does want to try to keep Lambo's attention on his defenses, and less so on what's going to be sneaking out across the map. Oh, we get a surround on the Queen, and the Queen is going to be going down. Oof. Likewise, Baneling only detonates on 2 Lings, so not the best trade there for Dark. Likewise, oh, nice target firing there. Baneling does go down essentially for free as well. As Dark dances with the army. He has made those Roaches, but he's actually going to be keeping them at home instead. I think if he found a little bit more success here, he probably would have pushed out across the map with them, but no, he is going to be droning. He is taking his gases. Oh! Ooh. Oh my god. He wasn't quite able to capitalize on the bailing, but a lot of these drones are softened up. On the brink of death, actually. 1 Ling is all we need to just pick off every single one of these drones, but alas, the Ling was cleaned up. That could have been awful. That could have been game. that could have ended the game then and there, but thankfully, Lambo does keep his workers alive. Across the map, Dark just getting into +1 range. We got our third base on the way. Lambo is looking to try and tech up in a different direction, though. We have a Spire on the way here for Lambo. So he's looking to try and be a little bit cheeky here. We'll see if he keeps this hidden as Dark dives in with his Overseer. Yeah, we don't have enough anti-air. Dark should be able to dive into the main and get an eye on that structure. Now, at this point, Lambo, I don't think he's going to cancel. Oh, actually, he doesn't check. Uh-oh. As we have a bit of a Link counterattack across the map. Dark, even though he made it into the main base, he hasn't checked behind the mineral line. He doesn't know about the mutas. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, we also had a really good trade as well from Lambo. He trades out Lings for 4 Roaches. And that is going to force Dark to make an even greater Roach count. Dark, I'm sure, is feeling pretty safe about himself. I mean, he does see all the gases, but he hasn't seen the Spire. He still has that Changeling as well, by the way. Oh, God. And as a result, Dark, he only has 3 Queens. 1 Queen for each base to inject, and that is it. No Spores. No additional Queens for anti-air. Here we go. The mutas do reveal themselves. They will be giving Lambo so much map control. There we go. They're forcing a reaction out of Dark. Dark knows he has to make something happen with his ground army. He knows that Lambo, his own roach forces, should be weakened because he invested so much into these mutas. And here we go. Dark, he makes his way towards the 4th base. Oh, a lot of workers are going to be going down. Lambo just a little bit busy with some reinforcements. The 4th base will fall. Dark, he wants to keep on pushing from here. He takes down the 4th base. 9 drones. I don't think he has enough to break the roach army of... now with the reinforcements, it looks like he does. He does come in from behind. Lambo's squeezing out a couple of additional roaches and he will be able to defend. But Dark was able to buy time. With his roaches, he was able to throw down a Hydra Den. We have Hydras on the way. But he did lose a lot of roaches, which is a little bit scary. Dark, down in the army supply, is very vulnerable to a counterattack right now, and Lambo is looking to push on through and take down the 4th base of Dark. That 4th base is going to be going down. Both players on an even economy, to be fair, and Dark can't really engage, not yet. He's still building up his Hydra count, he's rebuilding his Roach army, but Lambo kind of beat him there. If you remember, as Lambo was harassing with his mutas, as he revealed his mutas, he did throw down a Hydra Den and a Lurker Den as well. He's working towards a hive. Lambo is ahead in tech. As we have the first 2 Lurkers on the way, Dark is in a lot of trouble right now. He's stuck on 3 bases. He's behind when it comes to the quality of his army. And by the time he pushes across the map, which I'm sure he will, he's going to run into Lurkers. And he can deal with a small amount of Lurkers, especially with Ravagers. But once that Lurker count gets higher and higher, it's going to be almost impossible for Dark to break through. As we are currently on 3 Lurkers, we have 2 more on the way. I don't think Lambo needs to push out yet. But he may have enough Lurkers anyway where he may just have an overwhelming force regardless. He's up to 7 Lurkers, soon to be 9. And we actually don't have any Ravagers. We have 1 Ravager here for Dark. Here we go, Dark even diving on top of some of these Hydras. The main army pushing on through. Lurkers have revealed themselves. Would you have some detection? Dark going for a bit of a surround. The concave is looking amazing for Dark. Oh my god. Lambo did not have enough to support. This is why I was concerned about him pushing out with his Lurkers. I was like, mate, there's no rush. There's no rush to move out with your Lurkers. Just stay back at home. Lambo, he threw away his army. And that was like the best case scenario for Dark, let's be real. For Lambo to push out to expose his own Lurkers. Lambo still has a lot of roaches defensively, so I think he's going to be able to survive, but Dark is still in this. Like, any kind of advantage that Lambo once had, he doesn't anymore, outside of his 4th. Like, he's ahead economically. Like, he still has his 4th base up and running, so Lambo can remax and rebuild. But he's giving Dark a really big opportunity. As Dark is getting into his own Lurkers as we speak. Getting into his own 4th. Just Lambo premature with his fight. And now it's going to be on Dark to defend long enough to actually get into his own Lurker play. And Lambo doesn't want to let that happen. He wants to try to break Dark before he slows the game down. But I think this is a classic mistake that some Zerg players have against Dark. We saw that with Scarlet, we saw that with Ragnarok as well. We've cast a lot of Dark series recently. And there are players that, like, once they get ahead versus Dark, they try to force the issue. They try to force the end of the game. And Dark kind of thrives in that environment. And as a result, he's able to, you know, take a couple of small wins here and there and find himself back in the game. As I say that, you know, Lurkers are on the horizon, and I feel like Lambo from here should be focusing on just working on 3-3, getting into Vipers as well, rebuilding his Lurker count. Hopefully he doesn't throw away too much too soon. That's like the key thing that we're missing here from Lambo is the Viper. Like, Dark is still working on his hive. Like, we can't talk about Vipers for Dark, but we can for Lambo. You can see Dark threatening here. I don't really think he intends to commit. Ooh, does bow down a lurker, though. At the same time, yeah, he was distracting the main army. He goes for a roach counterattack, gets a couple of drones for his troubles, but nothing too major. He's gonna back up, rotate around, look to threaten another base. As Lambo is looking to push through on the left-hand side, but we have lurkers defensively. And that will be forcing Lambo back. At the same time, there are no lurkers on the 4th base for Lambo, so his own base is under threat. Ah, another surround. Yeah, Lambo is going to be bleeding out a couple of lurkers. He doesn't break the 3rd base of Dark, but he does hold on to his own 4th, at least. Lambo still has a pretty big advantage. If I'm not mistaken, yes, he does have the hive upgrades for his lurkers. He has seismic spines and adaptive talons. So his lurkers are just better than Dark's. Nidus is on the way. Oh boy. But again, this Nidus tells me that, again, like, Lambo wants to force the issue. He wants to go for like a big play, like into the main or into one of the other fringe bases. Meanwhile, Dark is refining his army. He's actually making Vipers first, despite having a much later hive. And in Lurker versus Lurker, like, Viper is king. it's crazy, but the Vipers just do so much. They add so much to a fight. Meanwhile, these Barred Roaches, they don't get a lot of damage, but they do force Lambo to turn back around. Meanwhile, there we go. Vipers are now on the way for Lambo as well. But at this point, I think I'm comfortable in saying that Dark has stabilized. He has eyes on the Nidus. Nidus trying to get up in the main. But Dark is going to be able to rotate over in time. Now, this is going to make an opening. Lambo being quite active with his army. Nidus on the way. Lambo rotating over towards the 4th base. Or the center of the map, even. And, yeah, Dark has successfully, you know, slowed the game down to get into, like, basically an even state here. I say an even state. Lambo still has +3 over his opponent, so Lambo's army is still technically better. But over the course of this game, Dark has been catching up a lot already. Like, now he has his own lurker upgrades, he has seismic spines, he has adaptive talons. He's working on +3 range as well, so he's not that far behind his opponent. Getting his 5th base up and running. Oh, but Dark is heavily out of position right now. We have lurkers threatening the 3rd. We have the main army pushing through the center. Can Dark get here in time? And can he zone away these Vipers? Well, now he can. Vipers looking to yoink some of these defensive lurkers. They will get 2 of them. Oh my god, the transfuse! Up! The lurkers, every single one survives, and Lambo loses both of his Vipers. Oh my god. Did you see that? Dark actually saved one of his Ravagers as well by yoinking it. Oh my god. But yeah, Dark with a little bit better control in the end does trade more favorably. Killing 3 Vipers of Lambo. And we can see Lambo rebuilding said Vipers. He's going to be finding an opening here though. Looks like once again he was able to catch Dark out of position. Dark has very limited scouting information. See another army pushing here on the right-hand side as well. Lambo trying to out-multitask Dark, and he's getting damage done. Not so much on the right-hand side, but he does get a base. Oh, but that's a bit of a rough... This is a rough fight here for Lambo. It looks like we have Dark breaking on through. He's getting on top of the bottom right. We have detection. Yeah, this hatchery will fall. At the same time, over on the left, the lurkers are pushing through. Dark winning on both fronts. Oh, it doesn't want to overextend though. The lurkers are going to respect this hatchery at least, but bottom right has been taken down. The goal base falls as well. Suddenly, it's Lambo struggling to defend. He's supply blocked as well, losing too many overlords. Earlier, like, because Lambo had the map control, he had a lot of overlords on the map. But suddenly, now that Dark is being active, he lost so many of them, and Lambo has been supply blocked for a long time now. Oh my, that's a lot of Vipers. That's also a lot of parasitic bombs as well. Decent splits coming out from Lambo. Ah, decent. Gee, Lambo has 12 Vipers. Oh my god, this is maybe too many Vipers, especially considering we're supply blocked. Lambo he only has 4 lurkers as well. His ground army is suffering just because he invested so much into these Vipers. Ay. Lambo's still supply blocked, by the way. Hopefully he can break free from that soon. As Dark is remaxing. Ay, there we go. Overlords are on the way. Lambo moving out. I mean, the Vipers, they provide a lot. As we can see here, they yoink a couple of lurkers for free. Oof. Biles do take down one of those Vipers. Meanwhile, Dark, I believe, yeah, he's got 4 Vipers of his own. Yeah, 5 more on the way. The Battle of the Vipers is upon us. Yeah, and Lambo's going to be able to take control of this area. Dark coming in with his own Viper. He's going to be able to zone away his opponent. Should be able to get... Ooh, should be able to get a power bomb off, and he does. Oh my god, that's a bit of a late split. A lot of damage done to those Vipers. They are so softened up for Lambo. Oh, we need another power bomb. Up. And we are going to get it. Good pre-split though from Lambo. He's able to avoid disaster. And Dark has been losing quite a lot here. It goes to show that we have 7 more Vipers on the way. Like, this is becoming less and less about Lurker v Lurker and more about Viper versus Viper. And you could think that, like, do we not have enough Vipers at this point? I mean, ideally, we have seen this from Dark Lord. Ideally, you have 2, maybe even 3 groups of Vipers. And you fight with the first group, and obviously we're going to have, like, yoinks and power bombs back and forth. And then you send back Group A, and then you send in Group B, you know? And so you have like a constant array of Vipers available to you to throw down power bombs, to throw down abducts. As Dark is forced to give up this hatchery. Spanning towards the top left instead. Lambo is keeping all of his Vipers together though, which is concerning. It does mean that like these parasitic bombs from Dark are getting so much value. Speaking of... Speaking of, okay. Yeah, as we do have a couple more power bombs being thrown down here as well. Oh my god, a lot of Vipers going down for Lambert due to the power bombs. Jesus, 3, 4, 5 Vipers. This is why usually we have them in 2 groups to avoid the splash damage of the power bombs. Hatchery goes down. Lambo, at a certain point he had like 17 Vipers. Now he's down to 2. Ugh. So very efficient trades coming out from Dark, and because he took down this 3rd base, this triangular 3rd, he opens up the bottom left, or he opens up this left-hand base. No detection, so this one lurker is doing a lot of damage here. Meanwhile, Lambo is pushing on through the lurker line of Dark. There we go. Detection has arrived, and oh, this hatchery is going to be going down. Not just the hatchery, but every single drone here. Dark just out-positioning Lambo, getting so much damage done. And now Lambo is hurting. He has a mineral bank, but he doesn't have a gas bank. Oh, he does catch a bunch of lurkers. 3 lurkers, 4 lurkers, and a Viper. Oh. Dark just not looking for a moment, just distracted here from another counterattack, and likewise Dark is now also hurting. Oh, this is going to come down to the gas. Dark not quite saturating top left, and he's about to lose top left as well. Dark going for some lurker harass wherever he can. But this is such an important base for Dark, and he's about to lose it. Oh, this is getting so scrappy. Yeah, and I think Lambo, he's been able to do it. He's able to fight on back. He's been able to break the economy of Dark. Dark barely has any mining whatsoever. He cannot rebuild what he's been losing. Even though Dark has been having some more efficient fights recently, he just can't keep up. Dark is denying gas here, to be fair. Like, he's he's doing what he can with what little he has, which is impressive. Now suddenly, this is the last mining base of Lambo. He can't lose this either. He's taking the center base, to be fair. But Lambo still has Vipers. He still has Lurkers. Dark doesn't. Dark has pure Roach. This is Dark's army. This is all he has left. GG gets called. And Lambo fights back, taking game number 2 after, oh my god, a wild back and forth. GG, papi, GG. Oh my god. Going all the way to the late game, Lurker Viper versus Lurker Viper. Both players had their moments. Lambo, obviously, he was looking so good in the early to mid game. He had a really good start. Then Dark clawed his way back in. But we saw that Dark was having a hard time retaking his bases after he was losing hatcheries. He was having a hard time maintaining his economy. And even though he had a higher worker count, he just didn't have the gas income to sustain certain losses. And at a certain point, he was just, losing too many Lurkers, too many Vipers. He just couldn't replace them. GG. GG, well played. Ugh, we have an ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Whew. Aye. Oh boy. And which way will this go? I mean, it's hard to say. A lot of this, I think, is going to come down to the map of choice as well. And the map is going to be Grasswan. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Now, this map is kind of known for its late game. This map is known for its split map scenario. We have casted many 40-minute ZvZs on Grasswan on this channel. And I hope we don't get there again. Oh god, I hope that's not where we're headed. I mean, just because this happens quite often, but typically if Dark does fall behind, and Lambo was ahead in the early to mid game, Dark is willing to just turtle up and go into Lurkers. But I don't think that's something that he wants to do, and I don't think that's something that he's looking to do here in this game, but we'll see. We'll see how this all does unfold. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Grass Farm, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. Oh my god. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going for a 12 pool, we have the German Zerg player fighting back in that last game, tying the series up 1-1, representing Shopify Rebellion, the madman himself. It is Lambo. The 12 pool is upon us. Okay, so Dark is going to be going for a hatch gas pool. This is best case scenario for Lambo. Oh my god, Lambo's even sending his drone across the map. I was about to say that this is like a macro opener. Like, you can transition out of a 12 pool pretty easily. Like, you don't have to do that much damage with a 12 pool. But Lambo says no, because Lambo doubles down. With this, he can go for a proxy hatch into a spine crawler, which I think is what he wants to do. The drone, oh, it doesn't avoid. It is spotted by the Overlord, and he should be going for that hatchery, and we cancel and we throw down the spine. Or are we? Yeah, there we go. Does go for those who don't know, when you cancel a hatchery, it leaves behind creep. Creep is left behind, which means you can throw down another building, like a spine crawl, which does require creep to throw down. So we do have a spine on the way. Dark, his Overlord saw the drone, but it looks like he himself didn't see the drone. It may have just missed he may have just missed it. As a result, this spine crawler is going to get up and running. The Dark is going to be moving down to low ground. Now has eyes on this. Now realizes what's been going on. Oh, did you see that? He even made a drone and he canceled it. So Dark had no idea. Dark actually had no idea what was happening until this moment. Oh, this hatchery. With the power, with the DPS of this spine crawler, the hatchery is going to go down. And Lambo knows that. He knows the hatchery is going to go down, so he wants to find some more damage. He's going into the main. He wants some drone kills. Oh, we'll see. Can he get any workers? He gets one. Only one drone. And meanwhile, this spine crawler, yep, does get a kill on the hatchery. Lambo is expanding behind this. He is transitioning, but he's already done an insane amount of damage. He gets this around. The queen. The queen goes down. Oh my god, Lambo getting so much value with this 12 fool. I love it. He unburrows and reburrows the spine crawler in the receding creep. You love to see it. Ay, ay, ay. And Dark is in a really bad position from this point. Again, even though his Overlord saw it, he didn't quite see the drone himself. Wasn't able to prepare for said 12 fool. And Dark is going to be going for an all-in. We have an Evo chamber on the way. I believe this is going to be for +1 melee. I believe he's going to be link flooding behind this. Oh, as he cleans up all the links, cleans up the spine crawler. And he's going for a double expand. There's that +1 melee. So I believe these hatcheries will mainly be for larva. I do think that he's going to saturate these bases for a little bit, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, he's going to be heavily reliant on these links to deal with some counter damage. Back at home, Lambo going for the correct response after a 12 pool, that is to fully wall off and go for 2-base play. Now, this should typically be for 2-base Roach, but if Lambo is feeling spicy, he could go for 2-base Muta. There are options available for Lambo. Now, what's interesting to me is that Lambo didn't throw down a Roach Warren as a part of the wall. So that's a little bit odd. He is taking his additional gases. Well, I mean, he did go for a gases opener, to be fair, because of the 12 pool. His gases are heavily delayed. But yeah, with no Roach Warren as a part of the wall, this could be for 2-base Muta, or maybe he's just feeding his opponent false information. As Dark is trying to get his bases up and running. And yeah, we're still a ways off from +1 melee really kicking in. There's that Roach Warren being thrown down. I love this Lambo hiding it here behind his natural. So because of like how this wall was constructed, again, Dark doesn't know for certain if this is going to be roaches or if it's going to be mutas or something else. You know, Lambo could be doing something crazy and rushing into 2-base Hydra even. So Dark is in the dark right now. He doesn't know what Lambo is doing. Meanwhile, Dark is banking links. We were talking about this timing here with +1 melee, and here we go. The Ling's going to try and power through this queen. I believe there is enough energy for one transfuse. There we go. Transfuse is used. I love it. We rotate the queens over. Make sure the high energy queen is safe and sound behind the wall of Lambo. And a lot of Lings were produced, and unfortunately, these Lings could have been drones. This is a really big investment. Dark is going for +1 carries behind this. He's going for a fast 4th base as well. Oh my god. He's gonna have so much larva. And to be fair, he needs it. Like, Lings are the only thing keeping him in this game. There we go. Roach Warren is thrown down behind this. Soon we should be getting into additional gases. It looks like the goal here for Dark is to survive with pure mass Ling until he can get into Roach production of his own. So here we go. More Lings are on the way. I say Roach production. Sorry, I think he's going to go Ling Ravager, now that I think about it. And yeah, with all these Lings, he's going to be containing Lambo here to these 2 bases. We can see that, again, it wasn't a Spire or anything like that from Lambo. If Lambo does move out, he will be surrounded. So Lambo has to respect this until he has a high enough Roach count to really deal with this situation. Meanwhile, there we go. Second gas is being taken here for Dark. Flare on the way. So he's going to eventually refine his army and eventually, you know, make some roaches. Oh, but before that happens, here we go. We get a surround. The queens are going to be going down. They have a couple of transfuses in them, but they will fall. Again, an efficient trade here for Dark. Just trading lings for gas. Making life difficult here for Lambo. Oh, but Lambo's not taking a third. Well, he definitely can take a third behind this. Yeah, there we go. Drone is on the way, but no! Drone is forced back. Lambo pushing out here with his Roach army. Now, we have been producing Ravagers back at home. The goal here for Dark is to get a surround with his lings, and then the biles from these Ravagers will clean up the roaches, and that's exactly what we're seeing. There is no way out. The biles will connect. Oof. And Lambo is going to be losing everything. Ay, ay, ay. Dark taking such an efficient trade. Once again, minerals for gas. Swallows up the army of Lambo. And Lambo, that was what he was working towards. There's no way for him to expand. He cannot contest against this army of Dark. Oh no. Dark trying to bait Lambo out into the open. Oof. Another Overlord does go down behind this. Dark just gonna be filing in more of these roaches, more of these lings. Oh my god, the biles on the Overlords! Oh thank god. The Overlords do barely survive. And Dark here just dancing with the army, chipping away at the wall. Droning behind this, working on +1 range, building up his roach counts. With full map control on 4 bases. Any danger that Dark was once in, nah, is no longer. It's no longer there. Finally, Lambo is going for his 3rd base, but it is so heavily delayed. He's working towards +2 range, which is nice and all, but again, Dark just has such a big advantage after Lambo lost his first army. And now that the 3rd base is being taken, that means that Lambo is exposing himself. Now suddenly he doesn't have a wall to hide behind. And that means that Dark is looking to push in. And Lambo is setting up with a concave. A spine crawler as well. Really good defensive position here from Lambo. And Dark is respecting that for the time being. He does have eyes on it with his Overlords. Dark is just looking for a better angle, looking for a better engage. If he wants to, he could probably just dive in and just focus down the hatchery itself. But I think he wants to try and pull something more together as, yeah, he's just going to drone. I was about to say that, like, there's nothing forcing Dark to push into this 3rd. Like, he's just been mining more for longer. Like, he can just saturate his 4th base. Like, he can just tech up if he wants to. He can throw down a Hydra Den, throw down a Lurker Den. Like, he doesn't have to try to break the 3rd. Here we go. He's going to be focusing on roach upgrades. So there's kind of like one of 2 ways you can go from this position for Dark. You can either tech into lurkers, or you can just double down and invest into your roaches. And that's what he's going to be doing here with Burrow and Tunneling Claws. Oh my god, the dancing Overlords. Ah. The patrolling Overlords even. Jesus. And there we go. Spire is thrown down as well. Again, Dark, he can tech into whatever he wants at this point. Looks like mutas are what he's going to be working towards. Now, Dark is max, so he wants to trade. He wants to... Okay. He wants to try and trade here with the army to replace his roaches, to open up supply for his mutas, if possible. Ling's threatening a counterattack, but Lambo doing a really good job of just splitting off his army. Protecting the entrance to his natural. And Dark is trying to force his way up this ramp, which isn't quite going to work out. Likewise, a lot of lings do get shaved off as well. Dark is dropping in supply, but again, he's looking to replace that supply with something else, as the Spire is still on the horizon. Dark purposefully not maxing out, Just holding on to that larva. Oh, and Burrow's done. Burrow is done. A couple of roaches do slip on by. Do get into the natural. They don't actually do too much damage here, but again, they're just keeping Lambo busy. As we have 12 mutas on the way. I'm curious, are we going to see a cancel? Are we going to go for like a super... We haven't seen this in so long. But no, we may actually just let all those spines finish. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it makes sense. Dark is going to have a smaller roach army because he made all these mutas, and typically this forces a counterattack. And there we go. Lambo, he's forced into a counterattack, and Dark already has spines. Oh my god. He's just making Lambo dance to his music. Lambo pushes up the ramp. GG gets caught. A wall of spines have been waiting for him, and Dark takes the series at 2-1. Oh, GG, well played. Ay, ay, ay. A solid start from Lambo, but Dark just had a wonderful engage with his Roach Ravager earlier. Yeah, beautifully done, you know, getting us around with the Lings, battling with those Roaches, sorry, with the Ravagers, and GG. GG gets called. Dark advances on into the quarterfinals, where he's going to be waiting for his next opponent, is going to be waiting for either Björn or Estrella. Oh, GG. GG, well played. I should maybe head over to Asia, just in case. And we can finally take a moment here to go over the bracket as well. As I believe Dark is going to be waiting, and we will also wait. We'll wait for his next series to open up for us.